If you have not followed his Triple H Horse Racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Thanksgiving from everyone here at the HHH Racing Podcast. I'm your host, Howard Kravitz, along with co-host Kyle Roscoe, and a beautiful, cool, crisp Thanksgiving morning here in the Midwest as we are going to begin episode 312 to talk about the big Pick 6 carryover on Thanksgiving Day on the West Coast at Del Mar. Kyle, how you doing this morning?
Good. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there, and we're all thankful for all the support you guys have given us over the years. So hopefully we can provide you a nice carryover ticket here to cash on a beautiful Thanksgiving morning.
I don't know about you, but I'm ready to gobble up some money. Be ready for the turkey puns because they're coming, Kyle.
The teacher puns are coming.
They're coming. All right, well, let's take care of a few quick items. Make sure you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. The power picks have been fantastic, Kyle. People should really check them out. Look below the video player if you're not familiar with our tip sheet, which is available on Patreon. By the way, some information coming soon about yearly subscriptions going to be available, Kyle, again, towards the end of 23 for 24. We have people that sign up yearly. Highly recommend people do that to save some money. You can go to our great website, hhhracingpodcast.com. We're also follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/HHH Racing Podcast. Kyle, before we talk about the handicapping of the Pick 6 today, got to take care of one more administrative item. Let's hear from our fine folks at Adelphi Racing Club. Matt Gutierrez, they do a great job. They've got some runners. I have a particular runner coming up. My biggest ownership piece that I have, a horse called Magistrate, who ran very big at Laurel in his first start. He's actually now at Turfway, Kyle, and he's going to be running there in a few weeks. So I'm very excited about that. Let's check out the Adelphi Racing Club.
Adelphi Racing Club, offering a truly personal thoroughbred ownership experience.
You'll have a lot of fun and excitement, and you'll meet some great people. All the folks I've met so far at Adelphi have just been super, and I've picked up some new friendships along the way.
We're not just a syndicate, and our members aren't just investors, we are partners. Contact us online to get a taste of the Adelphi difference.
Adelphi Racing Club, they do a great job, along with also Crownsway Racing. Just shout out to them for their fantastic year they've had here in 2023. We got a lot of people in the chat, Kyle, right before we started. Bill Kelly was the first one.
Always.
Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Have a great day. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it. Michael Austin, he doesn't have a ticket. He's got a mega ticket. Wow. Going very deep in leg 2, Kyle. Not so deep in the leg that you're going deep in, leg 3. Very interesting. We'll be talking about that sequence. We got Katie, of course, is here. Tanner Hawkins. Look at people are getting up for our show. Isn't that nice on things? Listen, there's not much to do Thanksgiving morning. I mean,
always
sleeping or whatever.
Gotta get up.
Look at David Duncan from Tokyo.
And that's a man that's not getting up. It's about probably somewhere in the nighttime, I would assume, over in Tokyo.
I can check. I think it's actually early evening, but I could be wrong. Who knows? You want to find what's the time in Tokyo? Find out for us, Kyle.
Got you right.
I think it's like 6:35 or something.
It is 12:35 in the morning.
I was wrong. Okay, there you go. Wow. Thanks, David, for staying up. Jeffrey Wilson is here. Appreciate it, Jeff. Ralph Conti, right up. There we go. Ready to stuff my
There
pocket.
you go.
I like it, Ralph. Keep the turkey puns going, everyone. Steve Vanderbrook is here. Happy Thanksgiving.
How about that?
Here.
Yep.
Our good friend, Davey. What's up, Davey Lane? I came online to find the winner of tomorrow's 1,000 guineas in Calcutta and settled into you guys. Well, thanks. I think Davey pretty much stumbled into us because he's day drinking in Liverpool there.
I wish.
I think that's what he's doing. But Davey, good luck with the bet at Calcutta there. Davey's world renowned. He loves betting all these exotic tracks. So good luck to Davey. Kyle, as you look through the pick 6 sequence, very brief initial thoughts as you finished your handicapping.
As we come to know with California racing, there's not too many races that are too deep, but there's some in there that are pretty. It's either basically you go one or two, or you have to go many. And as you saw with Michael Austin's ticket at the beginning, there's many different races where you could take a lot, and there's some races you could take a little. It's many different ways you can go in a spot like this, and there's a lot of horses that are favorite that might not trip out. So this could be a very nice sequence and a very nice paying sequence in that.
I think so. And I'd also be remiss to not mention we had a show last night, episode 311, with Kevin Kirstein from Churchill Downs. We talked about Pete and I talked about many different stake races. Everyone check out episode 311, where we actually didn't go through a sequence. We went through a bunch of stake races this weekend at Churchill. And then very quickly, why don't you talk about your famous show that you guys had this week?
Famous, yeah. We on Tuesday night, betting and boozing guys, we covered, actually, if you're looking for some other track to bet before Del Mar gets underway today, we covered the late pick 5 at Churchill Downs for Thanksgiving Day, and that's another very good card with a lot of good allowance races and 2 grade 3s. So check that show out as well on the YouTube channel.
If you did not hear, by the way, there was breaking news that we broke on this show yesterday. Yep. And that is that Churchill, who's had a mess of a time with their turf course, they are running a race today, the Cardinal Stakes on the turf. Races 2 and 6 are off, but at Churchill they are going to run a stake race today on turf. And let's hope, Kyle, there's a bunch of other stake races this weekend on turf. It's closing weekend there, so let's hope that those races go off. I know the weather's going to be fine in Kentucky all weekend. I mean, it's definitely cool, as you know, in the Midwest, but it's going to be sunny. So hopefully the turf will hold up. Michael Lawson, Davey, if you're listening, wants to know, Davey, you want to come on and talk about the Hong Kong Cup with everyone? He wants to know. There's a horse, Kyle. I'm sure you're familiar with this horse. Equinox, who is an absolute monster. Boy, would I love to see. How about an Equinox Augusta Rodin matchup in Dubai?
Yeah.
By the way, Edge Equinox in that race. That's how good he is. And here's a new, I believe a new chatter. Save the Clock Tower. Love the name. Morning, guys. Thanks for being here. No, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Save the Clock Tower. Appreciate it. All right. I was wrong. Thank you, Michael. Japan Cup. I got it confused. Sorry. Japan Cup for Equinox. All right, let's get to the pick 6. Excuse me. Pick 6 at Del Mar. I'm going to bring it up right now. Everyone get your pads and papers out. Here we go. Pencils. Here we go. The pick 6 today at Del Mar. Now, note the early starting time. It starts at 12. That is 12 p.m. local. So it's going to start at 3 p.m. Eastern is the start of the pick 6, and it starts in race 3. They only have an 8-race card today at Del Mar. So again, race 3 is the start of the $1. Want to mention that also. The $1 base bet pick 6 starts with a small field of 6. The other field sizes are 8 in case people are already turned off. So again, we've got 5 fields of 8 after this small field of 6. Moreline favorite is the number 4 House of Magic. Let me go ahead and bring up the banners so everyone can see my pick and Kyle's pick. There it is. Let me also turn off the intro banner automatically goes off. Okay, got that. Kyle, you're going to go with a bit of upset with Noki for Vladimir Serin and Rispoli. Let's talk about that horse first with the upset, according to you, in race 3.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, the 4 is easily the most likely winner of this race. Just very fast speedball, and if he gets out to the front, there might be no beating him. But I'm going to try and take a shot. There's other horses that do want to try and vie for this lead. The 1 is not slow by any means. The 2 is basically only chance to go. The 3 only chance to go. So there are horses that are going to run with this number 4 in theory. So number 6 Noki should basically just trip out in a spot like this. The one thing I am concerned with is that the horse hasn't been able to show closing it towards the mile distance, but did close well at 5.5 at Gulfstream first time out. So I know that Noki has the ability to rate, which is what makes me think, again, just trip-wise, Noki could get a really good setup in here, but the 4 House of Magic, who's your top pick and let you talk about, is definitely the horse to beat in this spot.
I also want to mention, and he was not able to join us because I believe as we speak, he might be on a train right now with his family. But Noah Maher, West Coast bias, who's going to be out at the track at Del Mar with his family. Noah, happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. But he is going to send out his picks and ticket on X today. So check out Noah is an excellent handicapper, of course, with Ben and Boozin, and exclusively for Del Mar. That's his home track. So check out Noah Maher's X follow X with not address. What do we call it? His handle. Sorry.
Yep, there you go.
It's early. It's in the morning. Haven't had my coffee yet. Even though I'm not a coffee drinker. Anyway, check out Noah on X. All right. Here's the thing, Kyle. This is a spot usually where I would take your top choice.
Yep.
The thing is, I hear you about the speed. I'm not so sure. The 1 and 2 can't go with this 4 if she breaks.
Right.
Big if, right? The 3 is the complete wild card in this race, right? Aventap, never been on dirt and not really bred for dirt either. So I found this
Correct.
to be a weird spot. I also find the fractions going 5 and 6.5 at Del Mar, on the West Coast are faster than they actually look. So actually slower than they actually look, because you don't see a lot of red time form. So I don't really know how fast Aventap is. I just think House of Magic's going to clear. If this was 5.5 or 6 furlongs, this would be like a stone cold lock single. I might not even use anyone else.
Yep.
The extra half furlong, even if she gets clear, I don't trust her. And you mentioned very well with Noki, the fact that I think she's a sprinter. I don't think she wants to go 2 turns. That last race, by the way, was a very difficult race. I'm not going to show the replay or the field, but I bet that race that day, that was a race full of speed. And she got a decent trip, but I don't think she wants to go long. Totally agree with you. And I'm going to do something possibly, Kyle, that is very unusual for me. My plan right now is to use 4, 6 equally as A's. That's not unusual. And use nothing else. That's it. Just 4, 6A, which is not very good from a budget standpoint, but I'm not sure I could separate those two. And I don't love the 3, and I don't want to waste money on a $1 pick 6 ticket on anyone else.
I completely agree with you. And the thing is that with House of Magic, that the only race that House of Magic's been able to hold in was 5.5 at Los Al going in a maiden 50.
True.
See, these other ones, granted, she's been going very fast, but the only just from a pace standpoint, she kind of walked the dog in that race at Los Al going 22 and 1 in a 5.5. So, there's angles to play against House of Magic, but I'm with you, Howard. I'm only using 4, 6. And if there's any way she clears, she's got big of a chance, if not bigger than a chance of anybody.
Well, it's the 1-3 back, this one right here. This is the one that I like the most because she ran a 77 buyer into a fast pace. I just don't see a lightning fast pace. If she breaks, she clears and gets a little bit of a slower quarter. It's not like the 6, Kyle, can put pressure on her. She's going to be
correct.
The 6 will be 4 or 5 back and just hoping the 4 doesn't last. So I don't know if anyone else other than 4 and 6 wins, I'll probably be out of the ticket. I'm assuming you feel pretty much the same way here.
Completely the same way. You'll see my ticket later. I'm only using the 2.
Okay. There you go. Yeah. So the first race is very straightforward. It definitely opens up, though, in the next races. Let's go ahead and switch the banners there. There's our banner for race 4. Let me bring up the field.
Ooh.
Race 4, second leg. Optional allowance. Oh, boy. Here we go. 5 furlongs on the turf. A turf sprint. Optional 80 claiming. These are borderline stake courses. The nice field of 8. The morning line favorite in a completely wide open board, as you guys can see, is the number 7, Lovesick Blues, a Calbred for Steve Miotti and Rispoli. Cal, you're going at the 4, Mas Rapido for Hess and Maldonado. What do you like about this one?
Well, I'll tell you what, if the horse goes Mas Rapido, will be very fine in this spot.
Very
fast for those of you non-Spanish speaking. But look, the problem is I think this horse is just better sprinting. Granted, even though the 2 best buyers, the 82 and the Oceanside and the 90 and the Eddie D, are the top buyers going a little bit longer than 5. But you go back into the form. This horse ran well at 5 against Speedboat Beach and Helatic, who's also in this spot, but running mid-70s buyers has definitely improved since last year just based on numbers alone. So getting back to doing what this horse wants to do, I think he'll be a little bit more forwardly placed in that last race. I think the Eddie D might just be a little bit out of the range for this horse, but coming back to 5, I just think again, just another horse I think can sit right behind Top Flight and kind of trip out in a spot like this at a nice price of 5-1. But you can see Howard, we're very, you and I handicap pretty similarly, and we're pretty far apart here. So I like the 7 that you have on top. I have in third, but I'm interested. I have some stats about Mr. Baffert that I would like to share once you get there.
I know they're going to be negative. I know that for sure. Very interesting about Mas Rapido. And I had a conversation with Pete about this. If you look at the time form versus Bayer, and I just looked at this now to be very honest, it measures very favorably for Mas Rapido if you like time form. As you know, Kyle, I think we're trying to educate the viewers.
Yeah.
The time form number, which you see, it's the last this bold number there on the last, here it is, the 117, 108. These are time form numbers. Usually you subtract about 15 to 20 to get the Bayer. On time form, the 4 is actually very good. You see the 117, 108, and you see these time form numbers are much better than the Bayer numbers. So if you believe in time form, you have to actually upgrade Mas Rapido. I think you make a lot of points on the Bayer. He seems a little slow to me. And the fact that he ran a 90 in the Eddie D, he was 67-1. So I don't really take much for that. I'm going to use him defensively. I prefer Lovesick Blues here. I think there's enough speed on the inside. If you go back and you look at his numbers on turf, they are good. I'm slightly concerned about the 5. That might be too quick for him, but he's very consistent. He's got Rispoli. This is a major upgrade to me from Pereira and the apprentice jockey Torrealba. He's been working well. He's not going to be on the lead. I'm hoping Rispoli is close enough and sitting off the speed from the outside and goes by in a lane. I will say it's not my strongest opinion. Let's talk about more tequila. Now, I'll be happy to hear your stat in a minute. I'm sure it's not good. Here's the thing, though, is this horse does have some turf breeding, and I think it's going to set a great trip. And the fact that Baffert goes in here, I'm not sure if Baffert thinks this is a turf horse or he wants to go shorter. My guess is he wants to go shorter with him and that he thinks he's got some talent. The stats are going to lean me away from Baffert for a top choice. But if you think I'm going to throw out Baffert and JJ Hernandez and a pick 6, you're crazy.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've said this. We've gone over this when we go over California for betting and boozing. You see these Baffert horses that not necessarily Baffert wants to put them on the turf, but just wants them to go a little bit shorter, and they don't really card 5 furlong dirt races, especially in the fall. So, I mean, Baffert first-time turf in the last 5 years is 5 for 66. And going and only 30%. I found this actually a little bit. It's only 30% in the money with a 0.68 ROI. So Baffert, basically what that stat, Baffert always takes money, and getting back onto the turf never really has them run. But I see what's up.
Do you have the stat up on your other screen right now?
I can, yeah.
Do me a favor as I talk for a second. Go back to that stat and tell me what the stat is. Sprinting, not routing. I'd be curious to know that stat if it's any better. I don't know if it's better, but I wonder where his wins are coming from, if they're routing or sprinting. So it's Kyle. Go ahead.
They're actually pretty even. It's 3 for 31 first time turf sprinting.
All right.
So
but
better in the money, I would say. But a 0.39 $2 ROI though.
Well, obviously because he's bet and takes money and he shouldn't. I'm also going to mention the 1. The 1 and 3 are very similar to me. Standing O, this is D'Amato. Again, he's going to come a little further back. This is just a very trip-dependent race. Fresu is very underrated. Obviously, D'Amato is not. This is another Calbred who's solid. You want to mention the 3 real quick? The 2 is going to go to the lead, but I don't think he's good enough for Ryan Hansen and Mike Smith. Zaffarelli is a wily veteran who always runs well, but just doesn't seem to get there very often. 2 for 23, Kyle.
Correct, which is why I had to have him in the money, just because he always runs his consistent closing race. And you see he runs well at 5 as well. Just never seems to be able to get the job done, no matter if he goes 5, 6, 7. This is one of those horses that you want to bet against going longer, because it's always like, going 5, he just doesn't have enough time to get there. but he just never seems to be able to get there. So definitely, a reverse key or something like that to get in the money or something along those lines. But you're right, just never does seem to get there. And with the 7, I wanted to mention real quick. Mike, you hit on my concern. I just think the flat 5 might be a little too quick for Lovesick Blues. You'll see just the races. I love that race down the hill in the Daytona, but the distance is the concern for me, but definitely a win candidate for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Rispoli's got to get this horse up a little bit closer in this race. I'm on my own personal page. I've got at least 4 deep, if not 5 deep. I don't think you can lean on anyone in this race.
Mm-hmm.
The problem, Kyle, is it's an 8-horse field. If you go 4 or 5 deep, it's not like I'm going to get like a 10-1 in there. So
Correct.
from a budgetary standpoint, you gotta sort of figure out what you want to do in this race. We got a few comments I want to bring up from Save the Clock Tower. Michael Austin wants to single the 4, which Save the Clock Tower agrees with.
Race.
Is that that's the last race?
I think that was the previous race
the
before
first
this.
leg.
Yeah.
Got it. Save the Clock Tower loves the 6. Ran out of horsepower going 6.5 last time. I don't know about smoking the field. We just gave stats why we shouldn't bet Baffert. But listen, I think he's a little bit interesting in this heat, right?
And Baffert going 5 furlongs, just speedball.
He could clear. There's not a lot of inside speed other than the 2.
Yep.
That's my vision here, Kyle, is I don't know if the 6 is good enough, but he sits off the 2. He goes by the 2 at some point, gets first run.
Yep.
What's wrong with having a horse on the lead at the top of the stretch? I mean, I don't. If
in a flat 5,
if it materializes that way,
yeah.
Right? We don't know. All right, let's go on to race 5. There's the field, and let me go ahead and switch the banners to race 5, and there they are again. Kyle and I are not simpatico today, which is good. That gives people an opportunity to make a decision. Race 5, maiden 50 claimers. This is the one that you are thinking could be chaos here. It's a field of 8. All these fields are 8 unless there's scratches. Morning line favorite here is the number 2, Rosie Ann Rules for Paul Capestro, and the apprentice Aguilar. You are going with the number 5, Elton Sings Another. Great name for you Elton John fans out there. For Glatt and Fresu, 3-1. Go ahead, Kyle. What do you think?
Speaking of this is a race where picking names might even just yield you the same result. These Calbred 50s, man, I just can never get around them. This is just Elton Sings Another is a horse who's been tested at this, has run very well behind actually Rosie Ann Rules, who's the favorite, who's 0 for 12, might I add, but it's hit the board 50% of the time. I'm just looking for a horse to jump out in front and hopefully just maybe not clear, but I like that she's drawn outside. So the fact of the matter is if she can just sit off an inside speedball, such as a horse like the 2, if Rosie Ann Rules goes, the 3 has a little bit of early pace shown earlier in the career. Last race didn't really get to show. Maybe even Bougie Like goes out front. So I just like the outside draw. And the fact of the matter is in a lot of these races, there's just a lot of horses that don't like to pass one another. So I'm just looking for a horse to get out front and hopefully either get it beyond the lead or have first call.
One thing that I'm going to say I'm very proud of that I've done very well in the last, I'll say 5 to 10 years. And I just highly recommend everyone open up their brains to this. And everyone's got strengths and weaknesses, right? With their handicapping and weak spots and whatnot. Mine seems to be horses that wire the fields in New York on the turf. Kyle, you really need, I would say you, not you, but people really need to open up their brains with these races where there's horses coming out, a lot of horses coming out of the same field. And this is a perfect example. I understand the 5 who I've got third. I've watched a bunch of replays of these main 50s. These are just meh, and I just don't want them. And I want fresh faces. I'm going to go ahead and show this replay very quick. This is the 2 Rosie Ann Rules, the 5, and the 3. I think Justice is the 3 in this race, I believe, today, But on the replay, watch the 1, 5, and 6. Okay, the 1 is Elton Sings Another. But again, I'm just going to fast forward here. 1, 5, and 6 are all going to be in the race today. The 5 is back here. Here's Elton Sings Another, who actually ran okay in this race because This horse had to rush up a little bit on the inside.
Yep.
It's getting pestered the entire way by the other sort of heavy favorite in this race. But again, 1, 5, and 6. I'm going to go fast forward. The ones battling, the 5 and 6 are going to be back here making a run. But if the 5 and 6 to me were really that good, they should have done better, because
Correct.
this is a prolonged speed duel up front, and they're going to all sort of clunk together at the end. Here's the 5 and 6 on the outside. I think Elton Sings Another by far ran the best race here of the 3 that are going to be in the race today. Here's the 6, like, coming, but not really moving that well. I mean, okay, she's closing. There's the 1 hanging on. The 5 is like, I mean, this is just, boy.
Yep.
To me, Elton Sings Another ran the best in that race, and maybe she clears here. Maybe she clears and maybe she wins. But is she really improving? I mean, maybe a little bit. I got to go somewhere else, Kyle.
It's fair.
So I'm going with the 6, Style Stress, who was on turf last time, right? For Dan Blacker. In a main special, though, did no running. Didn't do much running at all. However, very good stats for Dan Blacker. Main special weight to main claiming. Good turf to dirt. Good second time out. And you look at the dam.
Yep.
Okay, the dam was a deep, ran on sin, but ran on dirt, and you look at the sibs here, and there's some nice progeny in the family. Reverend Al ran fine on dirt. Issa Court was turf. Liar was not a very good dirt horse, but was a dirt horse. I mean, how good do you really have to be in this race, right?
Yep.
So there is enough dirt breeding for me. Has been working on the dirt. I do want to see the workout reports. Noble Mission, by the way, even though this horse is out of Galileo, has plenty of dirt in his pedigree also. So this is sort of a sneaky, weird kind of, it's Harris Farms, it's Vasquez. I just want to go with a fresh face on top. The other horse, very quickly, I'll mention, Kyle. Don't sleep on Bougie Like. Bougie Like has speed in his pedigree. This is a chromie, so he's going to take money, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
But the dam has got look at the dam, staked, by the way, with speed. This horse has a lot of speed with his progeny, with her progeny,
her progeny.
Her progeny, again, not very quality, but speed. There's speed. Again, there's more early speed in the pedigree. This horse could wire the field. Maldonado, you know what he's doing. He's sending. If this horse breaks on top, look out for Bougie Like. I just don't like the horses out of the replay we watched, so I'm going with 2 others, and hoping one of those 2 comes through.
No, completely fair. I'm using both of those as well. This is I understand, going 5, I'm 5 deep. So 5 horses deep in an 8 horse field. You talked about it already, but this is, there's just so many horses I can just not pick like apart in this race where, if there is a speed duel, maybe, I hate that I'm using the 0 for 12 horse, but she shows that she can rate. If something completely falls apart, you're not going to want to lose to that horse. Even same thing with the 3. It's just, there's so many different ways that you can look in a spot like this. And you're hoping, even if the 1 is Bougie Like Applebee's on a date night, good country reference for everyone that out there listens to country. But there's just so many different ways, and I'm not looking to get beat by anybody.
The 7 actually should go also. I have this. I don't have the 7 right now on my ticket, but I might, just because who the F knows? This horse hasn't run since April. She might be better. She's got the apprentice for Parabon. I don't know. This to me is just wide open. And the 5, by the way, Elton Sings Another. That last replay was 5.5. This is 6, correct?
Yep.
So look, it's a spread race for sure. People are gonna have to decide what to do. You can't use all, Kyle.
Correct.
So people are gonna have to make some decisions.
Yeah, take a stand somewhere, and you'll see my on my ticket. I take stands other places. I just could not choose. And if you take a stand in this race and you catch, there's not going to be a very heavy favorite in this race. So if you take a stand with 2 or 3 or whatever, and you get like a nice 4-1, 5-1, that could boost up. So, well, there you go. See, Mike Lawson 1 and 5. Look, the first time starter in that 5, and Elton Sings Another. There's nothing wrong with that. Get a nice 4-1, 5-1 price and move on.
I've got absolutely no problem with that. Oh wow, thank you, Temple Bay. That, by the way, that name is not, well. I don't want to spoil her actual name there, but anyway, it's her real name. I'm 95% positive, not Katie. But anyway, Katie, appreciate it. Best horse racing podcast, very nice. Appreciate that. All right, let's go on to a stake race, Kyle. Let's get on some quality, shall we?
There we go.
There we
That's
go.
what I'm talking
Let's
about.
go on the stake race, race 6, the red carpet. It's a grade 3, $100,000, which basically in Kentucky is just is a maiden race. But anyway, that's a story for another day, which is crazy to think about, right, Kyle?
Yeah.
Mile and 3/8 on the turf. The rail is out 24 feet. That might help speed a little bit. And the turf is getting a little bit firmer. They've been running on it. I'm not saying you can't close. I'm just simply saying speed might play a little better at this point of the Del Mar meet. It's a field of 7 because the 7 is scratched. So it was 8. Now it's 7. The Moyline favorite, a very soft one. I don't think these odds are very accurate at all. No disrespect to the Moyline maker. Is the number 4, Sister O'Toole, a Florida bred, a very likable horse for Graham Motion. And there's Fresu again, getting a lot of love in the PPs today, 3-1. Let's go ahead and bring up our picks on the screen for race 6, right? Race 6. There we go. We are both going with a horse that I don't think is going to be 3-1 at all. I'm thinking more 9-5, if not even lower, Kyle, in my opinion. Sister O'Toole. Go ahead.
I mean, you can. Graham Motion, has horses that come out to the California circuit. He has a string out here, so there's nothing wrong with seeing that Graham Motion's taking horses out here. I mean, look, this horse has been running well on the East Coast against horses like McCulloch and Salima, and now is coming over. And she's 2 for 3 coming over. The only loss she actually suffered was in the red carpet ready. I got the other horse on my mind, but the red carpet stakes last year, and was just it was kind of really wide on the last turn and just really flattened out coming down the stretch. But those other 2 races, which are the prep for this race, just has run extremely well. And if she gets a really nice trip in this spot and a good setup, I'm very interested in Sister O'Toole. And like you said, I don't think we're getting anywhere near that price, but if we do, there could be something unloading here on this race. Howard, you're muted. Howard, muted.
Sorry, here's Sister O'Toole right here. That's why I can't be coughing during the show. It messes me up.
You're good.
Here's Sister O'Toole right here blowing by the field. Maybe the field she faces today is a little bit better. She was able to save ground the entire way there. But Neige Blanche and Symphony Perfect are 2 horses coming out of that race that are in this race again. And Sister O'Toole basically embarrassed those 2. Although, again, she did save ground the whole way. She just is the class, this field. And there's not a lot of speed, but I'm not sure. I mean, she really needs a lot of speed in front of her. I think Fresu just waits, and just blows by them in the lane in theory. I know Aaron Wellman, who is the managing partner of Eclipse Thoroughbred Partners, who owns Sister O'Toole, has mentioned this might be her last race or swan song. I don't love the shipping back and forth, but it's been a month and a half, so I see no reason why she's not going to be ready here. I mean, she's clearly the horse to beat. I think we both agree with that. Let's go with some other horses here. The number 8, Symphony Perfect, who we could back up that replay again, but maybe she's improving. It's Michael McCarthy and JJ Hernandez. You could do a lot worse with that. It feels like she does need to step up a little bit, but probably not a lot.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I'm keying in on those races, those optionals back, where she was a little bit close to the pace, only like 4 1/4. Just kind of thinking if Sister O'Toole is going to be a little bit farther back, who's going to be a little bit in front to get first run on her? And Symphony Perfect fits that narrative. Has run well at going longer. Not as good as she ran at that mile in that optional 80, but this is just one to pick up a little bit of the pieces and looks to get first run on a horse like Sister O'Toole.
I haven't had a mute problem in like 3 years, and I've done that now for the second time in like 3 weeks because I should just cough. I should just go ahead and cough. Who cares?
Yeah, just cough.
People hear a cough, right? Who gives an F about that? I'm interested because I respect the connections. I think she's gonna have to step up her game.
Yep.
The one that I think is a little bit interesting. By the way, Neige Blanc, I'm against. She is who she is. She's a nice, honest 6-year-old. I think a lot of things would have to happen at this point of her career to beat this field.
I agree.
She did run well in the Rodeo Drive, but I'm taking that with a grain of salt a bit. I'm not sure. The horse that I'm interested to maybe beat Sister O'Toole, because it looks like the best horses we've talked about are mainly closers, Kyle, is this one for Pereira. Number 2, Linda's Gift, for a pretty good trainer in Richard Mandela. Sure, she's been involved in optional 40s, and then has not done great in stake races. She was coming on, Kyle, and she was doing it well on the lead or near the lead. On paper, she's got to go. This horse has to go for sure. This horse should be on the lead. Now, what about distance? It's a big question mark, obviously, but she's by Arrogate out of a Tappet mare. So why can't she get the distance? Last time she was rated, and that was just flat out stupid because she was rank and she was uncomfortable, Kyle. And this horse wants to go. I'm assuming Pereira's going to send. If she sends and slows it down, this to me is the fuzzy. And by the way, this Cronin, this is Nick Cronin, the head coach of UCLA basketball, by the way, who's a big horse racing guy as well. It's got some ownership pieces of horses. So I'm not sure who Linda is, but Linda's Gift to me is the fuzzy here.
Yeah, I mean, look, I have the horse in third. I completely agree with you. Just from a pace perspective, you got to take a look at Linda's Gift because, as Howard pointed out, I mean, definitely not to her inside, not to her outside. You just got to think, where's the speed going to come from if there is any? I mean, she's the only one in the field with above a 68 early time form figure.
Yeah.
So, I mean, realistically, just based on time form pace figures alone, she looks to have the lead all to her liking. So, Linda Gift is definitely not one to throw out just solely from a pace standpoint.
Quick thought by let's see, Right at the Wire made a good point, and I'm usually against this. This horse is coming back in 2 weeks. Thoughts on that, Kyle? Positive, negative, indifferent.
I mean, it kind of depends because she really didn't get any type of run last time, and that's another reason to like Linda's Gift. If you watch that last race, she wasn't able to get going, got locked in on the inside, never really got to kind of show her run. So maybe Mandela feels like, she never really got to exert as much energy as she wanted to. So coming back in 2 weeks, I mean, look, if Mandela thinks she's ready, it is going to take a nice step up to beat this field off of 2 weeks rest off of that last race. But I mean, she's got every opportunity to do it, especially the way she drew with no speed anywhere.
Kyle, 2 and 3 back, especially 2 back, her numbers absolutely fit in this race. But again, that was a mile and 16th. We've seen many, many times in these long distance. If Pereira doesn't send, I don't know what they're doing. Like, you send the first 5 seconds. It's not like you just send a little bit or even let the horse just naturally get there and then go, 49, 50 and don't move a muscle until someone comes after you and then you see what you got. Or maybe even open up on the far turn and just see if you can just hold them off. I mean, that might actually be a better thing to do there, but I don't know. Tanner Hawkins agrees with me a little bit. He's got some interest in 2, using as an A. I'm using as a B. I pretty much 4-2. If the 6 or the 8 beats me, they beat me. I'm more interested in the 8 than the 6, to be honest. But the 6 and the 8 for me are C's, as in cat. Kyle, we might as well talk about our ABCs because we don't. There's no power picks tip sheet for this. I have 4A, 2B as in boy, 6, 8C. You want to rattle off what if you go off the top of your head, what your A, B's, and C's would be here?
No, that's fair. I'm completely agreeing with you. Lone A on the 4, and you'll see in my ticket that reflects that. I think I had 2 B's. I think I used the 8 as a B as well, and then the 6 I'm using defensively. So I'm the same 4 horses as you. If anyone else beats me, then I guess so be it. I mean, Oakhurst has not shown the numbers, so I'm agreeing with you, but I did move up the 8 as a B.
Okay. Greatly appreciate everyone in watching live. All of you that may be watching as a replay or listening as a replay later today. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there. I'm with co-host and host of Bet and Boozin', Kyle Roscoe. I'm your host, Howard Kravitz, episode 312. We're going through on Thanksgiving morning.
Yeah.
Gotta love horse race. It's always for me been pretty much fairgrounds. I usually bet fairgrounds on Thanksgiving, and then of course football and food and family, a lot of F's. I'm betting Churchill today. I'm firing.
We're
Some
always
bet I might
firing.
have to watch on my phone, or everyone understands this. I got to go to the bathroom. Everyone, excuse me. Oh boy, should I say that? Oh, I said that.
Well, now you just indicted yourself. So.
Well, everyone has to go to the bathroom eventually, right? I mean, so.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right. Let's go ahead to the next race, Kyle. Here we go. Take the banners off the screen. Race 7. By the way, all of that is assuming I can stay awake after the tryptophan of the turkey. So I can stay awake for these races. Here we go. Oh, look at us.
Look at us.
Fours again. Optional allowance 40 claiming 1 mile on the dirt. Older fillies and mares. Nice field. Actually, 3-year-olds also. There are some 3-year-olds in the field. Another field of 7. There is a scratch in Conceal and Carry. Fun name there. Morning line favorite is the number 5, Clickish, for D'Amato and Vasquez. We are going with the crazy train. Henny's crazy train. Sadler and Mr. Barrios at 4-1. We're thinking the same way, Kyle. Go ahead.
I'm actually interested to hear why you like this horse too.
Okay.
I'm just hoping Henry's Crazy Train can go off the rails, like a crazy train. There you go. See?
Oh, very nice.
The teacher's wearing off on me, guys. If he goes off the
rails, that means he doesn't run well, though, right?
No, he runs like he's going off the rails. He's running extremely fast.
By the way. She.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Take a drink out there on a beautiful Thanksgiving morning. I just really love the trip that I think this horse is going to get. And I keep saying it over and over, but forwardly placed is where you want to be on this Del Mar dirt and has been for most of this entire meet. So just being first call, showing improvement now under John Sadler, coming back, ran really well in the starter allowance race at Los Al, then comes back to Santa Anita in a claimer, but runs very well right behind a really nice horse. Just very game horse looking on the improve for John Sadler. And it is a little bit of a step up in class to an N1X, but I mean, nothing I don't think that Henny's Crazy Train shouldn't handle.
For me, it's pretty simple. 2 things. She's improving, number 1, and this is a monster jockey switch.
Absolutely.
Jockey switch to Barrios. And no, I mean, of course, the jockeys can't carry the horses across the finish line. Old adage we've heard. I get all that, but I like improvement. I like the jockey switch. I think the 5 Clickish is the horse to beat, but really not by a lot. The numbers aren't really that much better. I have to admit, I didn't look at the time form. Let me look at the time form. The 4's got to improve a little bit on time form. On buyers, not as much. I thought there was enough speed in here. There's a lot of horses I just didn't want. I don't think Gila is going to get the distance, and this horse she's a lot of speed. Professor's Pride, I looked at real carefully. I'm sort of surprised that neither one of us. Well, I'm not surprised for me. I'm surprised that you or other people might not like Professor's Pride because it's JJ Hernandez, it's Glatt, it's 7-2. I got to tell you, I watched a few replays. I don't think this horse wants any part of 2 turns at all. And I don't think she's getting the lead either. So I could be wrong. This is the one that might bite me today in the pick 6. But you agree, obviously, and she's going to take money. There's nothing to add, I suppose, from you.
No, but I completely agree with you. You hit the nail on the head. Why I don't have this horse? Okay. I don't think she wants any part of 2 turns.
Keen Lady looks a little bit slow. I'm slightly interested. There's Henny and there's Clickish. This is a turf horse, most likely for Serin. And then Liberal Lady, who I'm going to use defensively. We both have this horse 3rd. We're in the same way. I suppose she can wire the field, but she's been involved in slow paces. She's got to break from the outside. I don't think she's going to be quicker than the 1 early. I think this is a play against. It feels very 4 or 5-ish to me here.
I mean, look, great minds think alike, Howard. What else I got to add here? It's just
figure out something.
Yeah, I know. The 8's been just involved in very, easy paces and still hasn't been able to get the job done by herself. So the fact of the matter is now she's going to take a little bit of pressure, look to go a little bit quicker, faster. I don't think they're going 24 flat in a race like this. So I'm thinking play against for the 8, maybe hang on for 3rd. But I mean, like I said, this could bite us, like you said, but it almost seems pretty straightforward in a spot like this.
Well, I have the 8 as a B for one simple fact. I like the last race and the fact that she did rate a little bit. So maybe she is learning to rate. I'm not tossing the 8 at all. I want to make sure everyone's very clear. I have the 8 as a B as in boy. Depends how fast the pace is. Depends how good maybe the 1 or 2 are on the lead, of how aggressive they are, how long they can last. The 8 you would think would have the lead at the top of the stretch in theory. I just don't trust her, but she's really not that far off it either. So I think you have to use the 8 in your pick 6, at least in my opinion.
Completely agree with you.
We've
I'm
got a
there
few
with you.
people in the chat we haven't mentioned yet. Look who's here. David, happy Thanksgiving. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for joining the show. Our viewers are awesome. Caesar
Absolutely.
Alvarez. Caesar, how you doing? 7 wins versus
That's the other thing, yep, I want to
2
mention.
wins.
Is the horse and the Henny's Crazy Train got in on a condition, because this is an N1X and Henny's Crazy Train has 7 wins in an N1X. So that's another thing to point out too, because she's 7 for 20, but she gets in on a condition.
For people that are not quite educated, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me, Kyle. Can you help me there? How's that possible?
Well, because it's never won other than a maiden, claiming, or starter allowance. So the fact of the matter is that even though she has 7 wins, it hasn't come at a level where it doesn't fit the condition of the race. So she gets in on what people would assume, a much more experienced horse than all these other races. All those other horses.
Just to teach, maiden claiming win, right? Claiming win, starter allowance win, claiming win, right?
Yep.
So that means she knows how to win, though, and I think that does mean something. She's also working well too, I want to mention. So I don't know if we're getting 4-1. We'll see, but I think if you beat the 5 will take some money there for sure. Paul Conlon, yes, you heard me. I actually didn't say that, but I did give a reference earlier about gobbling up the ground on the outside. Paul from oh boy, I'm gonna screw this up. Which Dakota is it, Paul?
I believe it's North Dakota.
North Dakota. Okay, sorry. Paul's like totally insulted if he's from North Dakota. I were to say South Dakota. From North Dakota. Paul, thanks for joining the show. Happy Thanksgiving to you. All right, let's get on the last race, Kyle. Last race, I need to do some switching here of the banners. Let's switch that. Let's do that. Let's do that. Here we go. Race 8. This is it. The penultimate leg of the pick 6. It's going to happen at 2:30 local. That's 5:30 on the East Coast, right as you're about to sit down for your Thanksgiving dinner, if not already. We already have a scratch from the rail. Kitts Katie is scratched. This is a mile maiden race, Calbreds on the turf.
Also, Howard, sorry to interrupt you real quick. My DRF just updated. Looks like the 4 smooth over is scratched as well.
Really? Oh, they already have scratches in. Wow, cool. Okay.
Yep, there you go on the live odds.
There you go. Okay. That horse was 20-1. So
I agree.
Which means we have other scratches. Well, let's run down those at the end, Kyle, after we talk about this race. Money line favorite here is the number 5, Asada Fries at a morning line that I don't understand at all. 7-5. The second choice is the one we're going with, OK Rose, for Urton and Rispoli. There's a replay that I think we need to watch here, Kyle, but we again are going the same here towards the end of the card. We're going with OK Rose to finish out this pick 6.
Yeah, and there's one thing to watch, and it is, I believe you're talking about that last race with OK Rose. So I would love to take a look at that as well. And almost beat Asada Fries with all the trouble that you're going to see here. And I mean, I agree with you, Howard. If Asada Fries is 7-5 versus what OK Rose is going to be, I almost think OK Rose is probably going to be favored, or could be favored over Asada Fries, just based on, trouble trip and last time out. But would love to hear, obviously, your opinion on it as well.
Well, I just want to mention the horses in this race that are racing today in the last race are the 2, 4, and 6. So again, the 2, 4, and 6 in the race that we're watching on the screen are running today. Asada Fries did take pressure, Kyle, I will say, and it was a pretty fast pace. So that is a feather in Asada Fries' cap if you like that horse. This was a pretty fast pace, and she was battling. But here's the 4 and the 6. They are both battling. They're both coming back again, though, today, Kyle. And the 2 is back here. This is OK Rose in the pink, I believe, who is the 3 horse today. I'll just let it run. Tell us what you see here with OK Rose, especially, Kyle.
I mean, you can see right there on the inside, she's coming. I believe that's her, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So you can see just coming, and then just where does she have to go right here? I mean, just absolutely nowhere to go. Finally is able to get room. once she finally gets room, she'll see she breaks, but I mean, too little, too late at that point, and the 9 just comes over the top with a clear run. Just a troubled trip. You can say Asada Fries, did take pressure, but with a trip like that, you're not going. I mean, with a length difference on a horse that had all that trouble in the stretch, I'd much be. And look at your gallop out angle here. You'll see she gallops out past the entire field. So I mean, I'm much more inclined to like a horse like OK Rose rather than a horse like Asada Fries, even though she ended up taking a lot of pressure.
I agree. And, I wouldn't say it's the biggest trouble I've ever seen.
Yeah,
I mean, she
correct.
did, but the thing about that replay that I think is important to note, these are 2-year-olds. When she found room initially, there was a big hole, but then the horse that was a little better than her kept coming over on her, and she didn't have the acceleration to come up the inside on the rail. If that other horse didn't like push down on her from the outside or flank, I think she would have run better. She was not she was not winning that race, and she does have to improve, and she did regress. But this is again, the jockey upgrade matters to me a lot. It just matters, right? And I think she's going to improve. The 2, there's not a ton of speed. The 2 might show some speed. The 4 is not in this race. There is the 5, who was the 6, and she was rank in that last race. But she was the one that was causing Asada Fries to work harder. And now they're back in this race again. So are they going to battle? I don't know. But the 8, Lamborghini, who I actually looked at pretty carefully, who I have as a seahorse in this race, I think will show a lot of speed. Again, it's Maldonado. There's some turf breeding. I don't think the 8's going to win, but I do think the 8's going to ensure a fast pace, which for me is important because
Completely agree.
for example, the 5 and 6 decide, hey, we don't want to hook up again, and the 6 just gets loose, I mean, she could win the race. So if the 8 is in this race, which she still is, to me, the 8's the key to the race in the first quarter, because I'm hoping the 8 goes. If the 8 doesn't go and Asada Fries gets loose, we might be in trouble with OK Rose. But to me, Kyle, OK Rose is clearly the best closer in this race. And with any kind of pace setup and trip, I think she's going to get a much more fair run. I'm willing to signal her on the end of the pick 6 if I have to. Would you be willing to do that?
I don't know. Maybe you'll see in a few minutes, but
All right.
maybe I would be inclined to do it. But yeah, I completely agree with everything you said. I don't really even have much more to add. I just think if the pace sets up in any which way and she gets an OK Rose, fingers crossed, pray to Turf Jesus that she gets a clear run finally this time. I think she could show a lot of improvement.
Gary Colorosman, Asada Fries is a culinary name for a Del Mar horse. Yeah. We got, here's another person. Jose is here. Jose, give me the 5. I'm not interested in nobody else. Wow. Okay. The 5 could wire the field. Wouldn't completely shock me, Jose. And by the way, I'll be praying to Turf Moses.
Turf Moses. Yeah.
Listen, Turf Moses, Turf Jesus, whatever. the Turf Turkey gods, whatever makes people happy. I don't know. All right, let's go to the pick 6. Our tickets exactly here, Kyle, and bring those up on the screen as we end the show. Again, thanks everyone for watching. Here's Kyle's pick 6. He's going, we'll go a little bigger budget. It's a pick 6. 4-6 with 1, 3, 4, 7 with 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 with 4. That's Sister O'Toole. Correct. With 4, 5, 8 with 3 OK Rose on the end, $120.
Yeah, and not to mention, it's not only a pick 6; it's a $1 bet as well. So you're more inclined to go a little bit bigger and a little bit skinnier in a lot of these legs. The first leg, the first leg is that starter allowance. Seems like 4-6. That's House of Magic and Noki. Doesn't really seem like anybody else. Spreading the next 2 races, that 5 furlong turf sprint. I mean, you could use a lot of horses in there, but like you said, I don't want to go too deep in what could be less than an 8 horse field. Coming down to it, but then 5 deep in that race, I probably would be inclined to go a little bit skinnier, but I cannot distinguish horses in that maiden 50, that maiden Calbred 50. Singling Sister O'Toole, I think she has the best shot just with any type of trip ahead of her. 4, 5, 8, those are just the 3 logicals in that last second in the penultimate leg, headed by Henny's Crazy Train. And then singling OK Rose, as we kind of hinted on in that last race. I just think with any type of trip, I think she shows a lot of improvement.
I like the ticket. I like your singles. I'm similar. I'm slightly different. Here's my ticket today. It's $144. I'm going 4-6 with 1-3-6-7 with 1-5-6 with 2-4 with 4-5-8 with 3. I'm also singling OK Rose on the end. Bigger budget. I am using others. I'm playing an ABC. I don't feel as strongly as you in race 3 in terms of spready. I don't like the horses that have run in general. Out of similar races, they've all run, obviously. I'm going some fresh faces. I really think the 1 and 6 are interesting in that race. That is the one that scares me the most. I could single Sister O'Toole. Sister O'Toole is a flat A, my only A, but I'm using others. Linda's Gift to me is a little bit interesting. She has to get the lead. If she gets the lead, would not surprise me if she wires the field like 4-1.
Yeah.
Is a bit of a separator, and I'd single OK Rose on the end. It's $144 ticket for me. Kyle's we end the show. Any final thoughts for Del Mar? Any thoughts today? You've got Churchill, a nice card. Fairgrounds has a late pick 5 carryover. The pick 6 carryover, of course, at Del Mar, big stake races. And I have to mention again, we are a little more than 48 hours away, Kyle, from the biggest football game of the year for you on the college scene. Are the nerves starting to kick in a little bit?
No nerves at all. Come into the big house and see how we like it. For those of you that didn't watch, again, Betting and Boozing on Tuesday night, we covered that game along with the Churchill late pick 5. If you need any help covering that late card, but I mean, look, it's a beautiful Thanksgiving. There's a lot of good racing to go around, but of course, just being with your family is the best part about Thanksgiving. So to everyone out there, happy Thanksgiving. Like I said, we're very thankful that you guys have created what this podcast is today. Cause we can do all the work, but we're nothing without you guys. So thank you to all the viewers and everyone else who, met us in person, watches us every day. Like I said, we're just extremely thankful to you guys. So happy Thanksgiving to all of you and your loved ones.
Yes, echo those same sentiments. Happy Thanksgiving to, of course, my wonderful hosts and co-hosts and all you viewers and fans and listeners out there. Like Kyle said, we could not do it without you. But you know what? Enough with the, all the talk about Thanksgiving. Let's just freaking hit this pick 6 today.
Damn right.
Get some money because I need some contest money, Kyle, for this weekend. As you well know, the wonderful Thanksgiving contest through Hawthorne is I'm going to try to qualify for the NHC with a second entry along with Matt Miller and a bunch of other people. So for my good friend, co-host and host, Kyle Roscoe, I'm your host, Howard Kravitz. Today, episode 312 of the HHH Racing Podcast. Should we say it together, Kyle?
Crush
your bets at Del Mar in the pick 6. Take care, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.